Thank you all for listening and watching my videos. Please subscribe and like my channel Master Coolitz. Hoping that you will not skip my ads. It's a big help for me by not skipping it. Thank you so much. Dragon Shadow. The Rise.
Aaron gnashed his teeth and wished to swallow Zane Martell alive. Then he left the scene with the help of others.
You know him? Did I beat up your friend?
It's okay, you did well. I've long wanted to teach him a lesson, but my identity is sensitive. I am not allowed to do so.
You helped me vent my anger, but I didn't expect that you could force Aaron to such an extent. What's the big deal? Isn't he only at the first level of the advanced level?
Katie's bright eyes swept over Zane Martell, like she was looking at a terrifying monster.
You may have to be careful. Like me, Aaron is His Highness of the Dark Wolf Hall and has a high status. You've thoroughly pissed him off this time. He won't let you off. I'm afraid he'll make things difficult for you in the entrance exam. You have to be mentally prepared.
Don't worry. If I didn't even have this little strength in preparation, I wouldn't have come with you to the Dark Wolf Hall.
Subsequently, under Katie's lead, Zane Martell entered the Dark Wolf Hall. The inside of the Dark Wolf Hall was large. Since Zane Martell was not an official disciple, Katie did not take him around. Instead, they went straight to the registration and consultation office. An old man in his 70s sat inside. His eyes were blurry, but he was also at the 9th stage of the intermediate level, which surprised Zane Martell. He had expected that the body refining system and strength of Eastern Palm would be much stronger than that of the Seven Kingdoms Alliance, but he had never expected that the gap between them would be so big.
In the Seven Kingdoms Alliance, a 9th stage intermediate level practitioner possessed status and resources. He might have a higher position in society if he was a little more talented. How could he take on such a simple job?
When the older man saw Katie and Zane Martell, his eyes lit up, and he quickly greeted her.
Your Highness Katie.
Katie politely nodded, asked him to sit down, and ordered,
Arrange the entrance test for this man. Once he passes the test, he will be given the right to go to the Sky Spring Land.
Shocked upon hearing about the Sky Spring Land, the old man jumped up from his chair in shock. He couldn't believe his ears and asked again.
Your Highness Katie, are you sure? Sky Spring Land and no other reward.
Yes, do you have any doubts about my decision?
Katie frowned and was a little angry. Seeing this, the older man was anxious and he quickly nodded in agreement.
Okay, I'll do it now. What's your name? Have you ever joined any sect?
The old man did not dare to slight her. Not many people could receive Katie's appreciation. It meant Katie valued Zane Martell.
My name is Larry Shaw. I used to be in the Five Spirits sect, but I am a free warrior.
The Five Spirit sect had once been his sect. Many of his good friends who were like family to him, such as Amara, were in the sect. However, Madame Tina of the Five Spirit sect had gone too far and harmed him and Elora. The others, except Thomas, just stood by and watched. It didn't matter if he didn't stay in such a sect. In other words, the Five Spirits sect had long expelled him from the sect when Zane Martell stirred up trouble in the peace negotiation hall. It was just that Zane Martell was worried that Amara Xavier and the others in the sect would suffer the wrath of the sect because of this. Their expressions did not change at all when they heard that Zane Martell was from the Five Spirits sect. Ever since the peace negotiations of the Seven Kingdoms, Alliance and Eastern Palm, the number of martial arts practitioners from both sides had increased greatly. People from the Seven Kingdoms Alliance often came to Eastern Palm and joined sects. Similarly, people from Eastern Palm joined the sects in the Seven Kingdoms Alliance. Therefore, this was no longer a piece of news.
Larry Shaw, how do I write it? As in the word kill or sand?
Kill.
The old man was stunned and looked at Zane Martell with some fear. His expression became unnatural.
Well, your test will be in the A-level test field in 2 days, and you can come back in 2 days.
Zane Martell nodded. He was just about to leave and return 2 days later. However, Katie was furious when she heard this. She slammed the table.
What's going on? The test in 2 days is of the highest difficulty. Who told you to arrange this? Change it.
The old man looked embarrassed and explained.
Your Highness Katie, this is all arranged by His Highness Aaron. I'm stuck in the middle. You know that His Highness Aaron has always been in charge of the entrance test.
Aaron, I can't believe you're making trouble for me so soon. I'll get even with him now.
Forget it. It's going to be hard, but I can handle it. Besides, Aaron might ignore you.
You don't understand. Since establishing the Dark Wolf Hall, not more than 10 have passed that test.
It was obvious that Aaron was deliberately making things difficult for Zane Martell. He once said he would not allow Zane Martell to pass the test. Zane Martell smiled and ignored it. He did not place this matter in his heart. Katie was helpless and could only agree, after which she arranged a place for him to stay. 2 days passed quickly. On the day of the test, Katie had come to pick up Zane Martell early. Soon they came to a huge hall. There were more than 50 people in the hall, besides Zane Martell and Katie. The majority were participants of the test like Zane Martell. However, almost everyone had a dispirited expression on their faces. Most looked sad as if they were unlucky. It seemed that they all knew that they were seated for the most difficult test. In addition, Aaron was there, but he had 10 guards all the time. He seemed afraid of Zane Martell, so he brought the guards to protect him. At the sight of Katie and Zane Martell, Aaron's expression gradually became presumptuous.
Ha 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 ha. Katie, Larry Shaw, as I said, you will never pass the test. You want to join the Dark Wolf Hall? Impossible.
He gritted his teeth, still feeling a dull pain in his chest.
Aaron, you seek personal benefit with your power. If Larry Shaw does not pass the test, I will hold you accountable.
What? Hold me accountable? Ha ha ha. Do you think I will kneel and call him father if Larry Shaw passes?
Aaron was arrogant and domineering. He was sure that Zane Martell would lose. As long as he failed the test and left Katie, Aaron had plenty of means to arrange for his subordinates to kill him. However, Zane Martell had remained calm the entire time. He was not worried as if he was going to pass it. Zane Martell chuckled.
So I'll have another son, and a useless and ugly one to boot. Well, at least you can serve me daily.
His words made Aaron so angry that he thumped his chest and stamped his feet, but he didn't dare to move. At this time, a middle-aged man in the advanced level walked up. Facing Aaron and Katie, he lowered his head and greeted them.
My name is Darvin, and I'm the invigilator of your test today. The first test is the test of talent. The stone tablet behind me is called the Spiritual Monument. Once I call your name, please step forward and inject your vital energy. The Spiritual Monument will answer according to your talents.
Zane Martell's heart was excited when he heard this. His dragon spirit body could devour other people's talent. Over the past few days, he took all of the talents of the people he killed. A year ago, when Zane Martell and Patrick went to the cloud-reaching building to meet Caleb Pierce, Zane Martell felt that his talent had grown a lot and might have reached the level of the celestial body. Since then, the celestial body was even more powerful and rare than a spirit body. It was rumored that there weren't many disciples with a celestial body in the entire Seven Kingdoms Alliance. Therefore, he was curious about how much his talent had grown in the past year.
Jerry?
The middle-aged man began to call the participants. At the peak of the 9th stage of the intermediate level, a man of roughly 30 years of age walked out. The runes on the stone tablet flickered when he placed his hand on the spiritual monument.
5-star talent, not qualified. Next.
The man walked off the stage disappointedly, shook his head, and walked forward. If he couldn't pass this test, there was no reason for him to take the next test.
Not even a 5-star talent?
Zane Martell was a little surprised. They could pass with 3-star talent if they were in the Five Spirits sect. He didn't expect the Dark Wolf Hall to be so strict.
Gary!
As the middle-aged man continued speaking, someone walked up. The test went by fast, and each took only 3 minutes. After testing more than a dozen people in a row, the highest was a 6-star talent, barely passing the test. In an hour, only 5 people passed the test.
Next, Larry Shaw, get on the stage.
Zane Martell was startled. He walked straight to the stage. Beside him, Katie was a little worried. Although Zane Martell was strong, she did not know how talented he was. He would not be able to enter the sect if he were not even at the 6-star talent. As for Aaron, he looked at Zane Martell with a sinister smile.
Larry Shaw, let's see how your journey ends here.
Zane Martell walked to the center and put his hand on the spiritual monument, guiding the vital energy in his body into it. The spiritual monument shook briefly, but it didn't change, and there were no stars. This not only surprised Zane Martell, but also shocked Katie and Aaron.
Not even a star? How is that possible? Is there anyone in the world with zero talent?
On the other side, Aaron covered his belly and laughed wildly.
Haha, I thought you were very strong. To think that you're a zero-star talent, what trash.
Zane Martell found it strange too, but he was sure his talent was not limited to this. At this moment, the examiner beside him had an extremely grave expression. His eyes flickered as he looked at Zane.
This spiritual monument can only test the talent of 10 stars. If his talent is beyond 10 stars, no reading will show. If it wasn't for the fact that the spiritual monument is broken, it means that your talent is likely to have reached the celestial body stage.
Although he said it flatly, his words struck everyone's heart.
What did he say? Celestial body?
Are you kidding me? How could it be a celestial body? Do you know how rare a celestial body is? Is Larry Shaw a celestial body?
Everyone's hearts were filled with disbelief. It was Katie's turn to show a sly smile. She sneered at Aaron.
Ha 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 ha. Aaron, are you afraid you'll have to call Larry Shaw Dad? We'll know if he's a celestial body or not after a test.
Bring the higher level spiritual monument over.
The Invigilator instructed his men. Not long after, an even larger spiritual monument with densely packed runes was moved to the center. At this moment, the Invigilator's tone was cautious and no longer as impudent as before. He spoke in a gentle voice.
Master Larry Shaw, could you please inject your vital energy into the spiritual monument again so that we can confirm your talent?
Katie stared intently at Zane Martell. Her heart was wildly beating. She held her breath nervously. It was not just him. Everyone present, except for Zane Martell, was in a state of nervousness because they knew very well what it meant for a genius of the celestial body level to appear. Only Zane Martell was extremely relaxed as he injected his vital energy. This time, the spiritual monument finally reacted. A dazzling red light suddenly burst out from the huge spiritual monument, illuminating the entire hall. Then the red light turned black. The black light was like a vast universe, and in the darkest place it began to flash with starlight. 1, 2, 3. Everyone held their breath and counted the number of stars in the black light. Finally, their jaws dropped and excitement filled them.
12. It's 12 stars, a celestial body. I knew it.
The examiner was so shocked that he was dumbstruck. His jaw was hanging.
Heavens, it can't be. A celestial body talent. Who is this person? Why is he so strong?
There are not more than 10 with the celestial body in Eastern Palm, and all of them are in the other 3 sects. This is great. A talented disciple of the celestial body in the Dark Wolf Hall will cause a sensation.
The hall was lively. They were even more excited than Zane Martell. Only Zane Martell felt that this was a matter of course. If he killed so many people and devoured so many talents, he would be a good-for-nothing if he couldn't gain a celestial body. Katie's sharp eyes swept over Zane Martell, after which she laughed out loud.
Larry Shaw, I wasn't wrong about you. I just didn't expect you to be far beyond my expectations. Aaron, are you ready? You will gain another father.
Everyone was excited, except for Aaron and his followers. They all looked terrible.
How could he have a celestial body? Could it be that the spiritual monument is broken? How could Larry Shaw be a celestial body? I don't believe it.
But at this moment, the overseer spoke righteously.
Your Highness Aaron, I guarantee with my life that Mr. Larry Shaw has a celestial body. There's no mistake. Great. Our Dark Wolf Hall may become the 4th strongest in Eastern Palm.
Hearing the examiner's words, Aaron turned pale. He knew very well what it meant for someone to have a celestial body. Once Zane Martell joined the Dark Wolf Hall as a talented disciple of the celestial body, it would be impossible for him to attack Zane Martell in the future. Immediately, Aaron gritted his teeth and interrupted.
So what if he's a celestial body? If he can't defeat the Devil Barrier puppet, he still can't join the Dark Wolf Hall.
When Aaron said this, not to mention the others, even the guards around him felt he was a fool. They were eager to have Larry Shaw join them, but Aaron was pushing such a high talent away. If Larry Shaw got upset and left Dark Wolf Hall for other sects, would Aaron be able to bear the responsibility? Immediately, even the Overseer was trying to plead on Zane Martell's behalf.
Your Highness Aaron, although the rules in the sect stated that Mr. Larry Shaw is a 12-star celestial body, if he joins us, we will have 2 celestial body disciples in the Dark Wolf Hall to participate in the sect competition.
No, I'm in charge of the entrance test. If someone with no talent or strength enters, our reputation will be ruined.
Aaron felt that something was wrong when he said this.
No strength? Then how did Larry push Aaron to the ground and almost killed him? Had he forgotten about it when it had only been 2 days?
Suddenly, the anger in Katie's heart exploded, and she rushed forward and scolded him.
That's ridiculous. Do you think you're all that because you're in charge of the entrance exam? Believe it or not, I'll tell Father Emperor.
Even so, my words are absolute.
Aaron refused to give in. Just as the 2 wolves were arguing, Zane Martell said to Katie,
Katie, forget it. Since Aaron doesn't want me to join, I'll leave.
Zane Martell snickered in his heart, but he pretended to be very innocent on the surface and began to walk out of the door. When everyone saw this, they were shocked.
It was not easy to find a disciple with a talent of 12 stars. How could they let him leave just like that?
Immediately, the Overseer, Katie, and the others held onto Zane Martell's hands and feet as they tried to persuade him.
Mr. Larry Shaw, let's talk. Don't leave first. Leave Aaron to me.
That's right, Larry Shaw. It took me a lot of effort to get you here. Are you going to leave me like this?
Zane Martell laughed in his heart. His eyes rolled as he spoke in an aggrieved manner.
I can stay, but you must pay for my entrance to the Sky Spring Land.
When they heard Zane Martell's words, Katie and the examiner were shocked, and their hearts ached.
Pay for Larry Shaw? How much would they have to spend?
However, if Zane Martell were to leave and join another sect, the leader of the Dark Wolf Hall would hold them accountable. Therefore, Katie gritted her teeth, stamped her feet, and replied to Larry Shaw.
Larry Shaw, as long as you pass the test, I will give you the highest discount within my ability. I'll save you from spending 20 million crystals in the Sky Spring Land.
20 million, not to mention the intermediate level. It wasn't a small number for one at the advanced level. Immediately, Zane Martell's expression changed. He stopped and laughed as he spoke.
Okay, I won't leave.
His change was so quick that Katie wondered if she had been fooled.
Where's the next challenge? Take me there.
Zane Martell turned around and said to the examiner, who did not dare to slack off and hurriedly led the way. Soon, Zane Martell was brought into a secret chamber with a puppet in the middle. Countless runes appeared on the surface of the puppet, and a formation was carved on the ground. When Zane Martell walked in, the formation glowed.
Larry Shaw will die when challenging the Devil Barrier puppet.
Aaron stood aside and sneered. Katie and the others frowned slightly. They were nervous, showing that the Devil Barrier puppet was not as weak as it seemed. She pointed at Aaron and scolded him with resentment.
Aaron, don't think you can do whatever you want because Father Emperor loves you. Whether Larry Shaw passes or not, I will report it to Father Emperor.
You can do whatever you want. Don't forget that there is more than one celestial body in the Dark Wolf Hall. What can you do to me?
Suddenly, the formation on the ground was activated, enveloping Zane Martell and the puppet. The puppet's mechanical joints began to move, and its eyes emitted a fierce demonic light. The demonic light swept over Zane Martell and began to change to something similar to Zane Martell's. The puppet looked and sounded the same as him. The only difference was that the phantom image of Zane Martell was at the first level of the advanced level.
What a magical puppet. It's similar to the Tao-breaking bridge in the Tiger Dark Cave.
The puppet's hands changed, and with a wave of its fingers, it sent out several sword energies. The sword energies were so sharp that the people outside the formation were frightened and exclaimed,
"What a terrifying sense of oppression. Is this Larry Shaw's sword move? It's too terrifying."
If this move is said to have no strength, wouldn't that make me a good for nothing?
Zane Martell's eyes flickered when he saw this. He did not retreat, but charged forward to meet the puppet's attack. His body glowed with a silver light as he used his silver body. The puppet's sword energy landed squarely on his body. There was not even a single scar on him. The crowd gasped and watched nervously.
Is this all the Devil Barrier puppet can do?
His silver fist clenched and punched toward the puppet. Violent wind and waves gathered on Zane Martell's arm. It was like the strong, oppressive feeling of a mountain bursting out, scattering the sword energies. The sword energy shattered like glass. The next moment, the puppet was sent flying, hitting the array's shield. It was embedded into the shield, leaving a hole in the array. The puppet's joints began to emit an electric current similar to thunder, but it was not immediately destroyed.
Your puppet is of good quality. It didn't die even after taking one punch from me.